Welcome back to JT and Urban. In today's video, we're going to be talking about why the sky is blue. No, we're not talking about that. We're YouTubers in search of views. So what do you think we're going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about Will and Jada Smith. I mean, come on, that's what's popping right now. And we're going to be asking, does Jada truly love Will? All right, let me show you guys this clip. Oh, God dang it, I did it again. Man, I'm so excited that I forgot to introduce JT. How's everything going, JT?
I'm sitting over here cold as ice, shorty.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. Let me warm you up a little bit. Pause. Anyways. All right, so, yeah. So, let's go into this clip and just add. But before we do that, I do want to say this. We're not trying to, this is just our opinions. We're not saying that she doesn't. We're not saying that she does. We're just going based off, previous clips, and we're just giving our thoughts on it. It's not to intrude in their relationship. Their relationship is their relationship. We're not saying their relationship is good. We're not saying that their relationship is bad. We're just giving our opinions on it. And if you're in a social media background, or if you're in a social presence, or you're somebody who's known by a lot of people, you can expect other people's opinion to be laid down upon you. All right? So, just in case, I just wanted to make sure that is said, because I don't want somebody to knock on the door and I open it and it's Will and he slaps me telling me to keep my wife's name out your mouth. I don't want none of that.
We're keeping that footage. We're going to keep that footage for sure.
All right, so let's get into it and let's check out the clip.
I never wanted to be married. It was a horrible wedding.
It was a mess.
I really didn't want to get married, but...
We only got married because Gammy was crying. It wasn't a day in my life that I wanted anything other than being married and having a family.
Wow.
From,
well, thank the good Lord.
Literally 5 years old, I was picturing what my family would be.
Wow.
Conventional marriage. In the past, Will and Jada have been forthright about their unique marital arrangement. According to Will, it was Jada who suggested the couple keep an open mind about their union. The Bad Boys star told GQ in 2021, Jada never believed in conventional marriage, and marriage, for us, can't be a prison. Basically, having an open marriage was part of the key to the pair feeling free. However, the Hollywood A-lister realized that involving partners from outside the marriage came with its own set of obstacles.
So, you've seen it. We took a whole bunch of clips and put it together. And that's what we got from it. Matter of fact, JT, let me know some of your thoughts about what we just witnessed.
It was shocking. Let me tell you something. If someone, and we can both come from experience. Let's speak from experience from this one here. We both tied the knot. Mm-hmm. Not with each other.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure we got that part out the way.
Just want to be clear. You know what I'm saying? We both tied the knot, so we both know how it feels to be married. You know what I'm saying? So if our significant other would say, I don't really believe in marriage, I really didn't want him to get married, that would have put red flags up right then and there. So when I saw that clip, I had an emotional attachment to that scene, right? You know what I'm saying?
It's emotional damage, but keep going.
Emotional damage.
I said attachment, based off this, emotional damage. But I had an attachment to that scene because my heart would have sunk knowing that the person that was pregnant with my child, with our child, not me and yours, but our child, did not want to get married, right?
I just want to, before we get started, I just want to say pause, get all the pause out the way before we go in. All right, but keep going. Right. Go ahead.
We keeping the banter against each other. But look, understanding that the significant other did not want to be married would have been crushing. Now, the reason why that part of Will explaining that he always envisioned a family. He always envisioned himself being the head of the household, having a family. And this is something he had in his mind since he was 5 years old. So you had two sides of the pole here. You had one side saying that I don't want to get married, I never believed in marriage, and you have one other side that says that I always dreamt to be married. Now I want you to understand this, Eli. Think about this. When we always think about being in a family, you think and wanting a wedding, wanting to be married, you usually see that as a gender role. Usually more women talk about weddings, talk more about being married and having the house, the house with the white picket fence. Will had this vision. Jada didn't want it. So right then and there, to me, was red flags. And then the third thing was, they admitted that we only got married because Jada's mom said we should, or edged it on. And that right there brings a whole another dynamics to the conversation. But I'll stop there before we go any further. What you think about that, Eli?
Man, I can only speak from experience. I had a failed relationship, a fiance that I was supposed to get engaged with. Well, I was engaged with and was supposed to get married. And, being so close to the situation, like, you really can't see the bigger picture, like, when you're in it, right?
Right.
So now that I'm out of it, it was a very toxic relationship. Well, I remember one thing that she always said was, hey, you know what? I really don't want to be in a relationship. And it was just me like, all right, hey, but we're in it now, such and such. But she always said it, yeah, it hurt, but it was never like, the red flag was there, but it's, I was colorblind. I ain't see no red flag. I just saw, a flag. I ain't see the color. All right. But seeing it, and we were like real close to getting married, and I could understand that had I gone through it, had we gone through with it, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I would be in a stressful relationship. Okay. Wow. And because I have the same view. I grew up, well, my mom and my dad, they got separated, but I always wanted, the reason I wanted that is because I seen my mom. She raised me, by herself, right? She was a single parent, and she had my sister, and also that left, and she also became a single parent again. So I seen that, and I was like, that's not what I want in my family. When I create my family, that's not something I want. I want to make sure I'm there. I want to make sure I'm the head of the household, and blah blah blah. I don't want my wife or my kids to be raised by their mom only.
Right. Okay.
So, with that being said, now seeing it, because remember, like, I don't know how long they've been married, but I'm assuming it was young, right? I'm assuming they were young. So, right. You see the red flag. Yeah, we can say that hindsight, looking back at it. But when you're going through it, the red flags doesn't really matter. Like, we're not paying attention. It's all about feelings. It's all about emotion. So I'm not faulting Will or anything. And they're still married. I mean,
right.
It could be a rocky relationship and all that. But that's just my thoughts on it.
It's definitely rocky. Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely rocky. Uh-huh. But one thing that you pointed out, and I think that marriage, we are shaped by our environment, where we grew up, how we grew up, what we've seen. Did we see our parents married? How did they deal with relationships? And all of this could have jaded Jada. It could have been how she grew up, how she saw her mother go through. Jada is from Baltimore, and I'm from Baltimore as well, so I know a little history on her father and her mother, because it's been written in numerous articles. So she's seen some things growing up that kind of gave her an unconditional look at marriage. It was a famous lawyer here in Baltimore, Warren Brown, who's her stepdad, who married her mom. And it was a rocky patch in that relationship as well. But she saw him as a father figure, someone that she looked up to, until something happened. So it kind of jaded her image of how a man-woman relationship. Is that why she felt the way she does? Because she didn't want a conventional marriage. And that goes into the third point. She defined what the marriage was, how it should look. And because Will wanted marriage, he wanted a strong union with this woman, he went along with it. And it opened up a whole nother can of worms. So let's speak on the topic at hand. One person did not want to get married, but agreed to the whole thing. We found out the wedding was a total disaster. They all mentioned it in that clip. But if we're going to stay married, we're going to do it by these set of rules. And we all know the rumors that has been spread about the Will Smith household, right? So now that we had that clip stating that they had a certain set of rules that they followed in this marriage, which could have been open, we're not sure. How do you think about that, knowing what Jada said at the red table?
Matt, to be honest with you, I always thought that Will was the one that came up with open marriage. Because that's just me. I didn't know it was like a Jada thing. I thought it was a Will thing, and I was like, man, all right, that's cool, man. My dog, you know, he got it. Right. Went to my wife like, hey, baby, what you think about this? And I got slapped. You know, I got slapped. So I was like, hey, I guess it's not a good idea. But
you will be legend.
Hey, but to look at it now, to see what everything going on. I know this is a bit off topic from what you asked me. I remember incident, like I said, the last relationship I had. How it was toxic. There was a time where I was always the aggressor, not aggressor. That's the wrong way to say it. I was always the one trying to win her over, if that makes sense. I was trying to win her over at whatever cost it was. I remember a time where she's like, "Hey, I'm going out with some person," and I was like, okay, no problem. And she's like, oh, this and that, you're not going to ask me where I'm going, so this and that. I'm like, oh, am I supposed to? Such and such, hey, this is why I don't see you like this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, no problem. This is, I'll do that. So one time, something happened. I forgot what it was. She was upset. It really didn't affect me. And then she looked at me and she's like, oh, you're acting the same way. I'm like, okay, no problem. Let me get up and let me be the person. I was furious. I forgot the situation. I just know that happened. Similar to what everybody's saying what happened at the Oscar and things like that. So trying to win someone's approval. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying, from the like I said, outside looking in, yeah, it could be wrong. But at the same time, when it comes to feelings, people we're gonna do based off of how we feel.
That's a good point, because that defines or explains some of his actions. Now
we're not saying that is 100%. We're not saying that. That's what he's going through. I'm not saying none of that. But I'm just putting it based on my experience. But go ahead.
But you have to bring out that point. I want to bring out that point because as men, for those when we really love that woman, right? We are willing to do anything for her, and we look for these acts of chivalry to say, you know what, this is what's going to win them over. This is what's going to take them over that edge. Now, with Will knowing in the beginning that Jada did not want marriage, she did not want a wedding, he always felt he had to impress her. Now, remember the story. You may remember the story that he took 3 years to plan her 40th birthday party. This guy said he set out everything. He had Mary J. Blige there. He had pulled out the works. Jada was not impressed.
That would have crushed me.
You know what I'm saying? Not impressed. And I'm sure he still carried that. Now, let's fast forward to the Oscars. I'm going to stand up for her in front of millions.
Okay.
And she still laughed and said, I am not impressed.
Now, I want to be able to see that clip there. I'm not going to talk about it. I want to be able to see that clip.
Her 40th birthday was going to be my thing.
It was going to be a splash.
It was going to be a splash. Mary J. Blige performed. I debuted the film, all of that. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis, and it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love, and we did it. And I had found tapes of Jada's grandmother, and her grandmother had recorded these voice messages over the last 8 months of her life.
Wow.
And it was tapes that Jada had never heard.
Wow.
So Jada had to sit there and listen. I understand thoroughly now. At the time I didn't. But she's listening to these never before heard tapes of one of the dearest people she's ever known in her life, in front of all of these people. So she's holding it together, she's getting it together. Then I have Mary J. Blige performing. The whole time I'm like, the little boy that wants mommy to say everything was wonderful, right? And she's having a really difficult emotional time. And then when we got back to the room, it was me, you, and mommy, and we were talking about the next day, and there were things planned for the next day, and she said, I'm not sure I want to do anything the next day.
I just wanted to have intimate time.
Just intimate time. And I was like, well, I'll cancel tomorrow. She was like, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Right? And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego.
Woo.
You're overreacting. This is what this man's like, I went out and did what I thought would be my biggest point of showing how I care, how I protect, and I just moved outside of myself to do this act. And still, I did not win probably the approval of the woman that I love. So even though I went okay with this marriage, the terms, the agreements, I still feel like I've never won her over completely. This man had to struggle with somebody who was no longer here on a physical realm. He had to compete with someone who was no longer here. That's a hard battle. But also had to deal with daily battles that he could not overcome because he was just trying to win the heart of his woman. Now, can we say over the 20 years of their marriage that they did not love each other? Sure, I'm sure they loved each other. But you always know that woman, when she don't have that one thing that you desire, you know what I'm saying? You want that place in her heart. And I think that Will always strive to be Jada's everything. But she reminded him that you don't have it all. And we see the unfolding of it right now. So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, I just want to say, Will, don't feel bad, that you're competing with someone who's no longer here, because everybody in the rap game is doing that. Everyone in the rap game, if you're part of the greats, they be like, yeah, but let's compare him to Tupac. Let's say, that's how that works. Everybody in the rap game is going through that right now, right. So don't feel bad about that. But that's pretty much all I have to talk about. I don't have nothing else to say. JT, you got anything else?
Man, Will, free Will. Yeah. I'm going to get a t-shirt that say free Will. You know what I'm saying? Will, get out.
Yeah, I honestly say that one day we're going to get, like, if we meet up, we're going to get slapped, right? Like, we're going to see Will, we're going to get slapped, right?
That's the one day you see me run.
But, guys, that was our thoughts. We want to know your thoughts. Make sure you guys let us know down in the comments below. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It's highly, highly appreciated. And yes, me and JT do not have kids together. Me and JT are nothing together or anything. We're just good friends.
Wrong.
All right.
Right. Definitely wrong show.
All right.
Definitely wrong show.
I mean, to be politically correct, there's nothing wrong with it, but just not here. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for watching and have a beautiful day.